My name is Mike Brenneman, and I'm a Senior Sales Executive with ImageTag. QuickTag is our product, and I'm going to be featuring intelligent cloud extraction today in our Quick Payables module for invoice routing and approval. We've got a couple of slides before we jump right into the demo, and I want to give you just a little bit of background on our organization, a little bit of background on the product, then we'll jump into the live demo. And so that being said, again, just a little bit of background on ImageTag. We have been around and doing document management for a very long time. We've been around since 1997. We have over 1,000 customers in 12 different countries, and we're on every single continent except for Antarctica. We have been awarded 8 U.S. patents, and not continuing to rest on our laurels, we continue to innovate every year, and 2 of those patents actually have been secured just within the last 2 years. One of them, as you'll notice here on the screen, is the way that we embed into Dynamics as a capture solution. So we were the first company to ever do this. We literally invented the ability to do this. And the other 7 patents mostly revolve around what we call our capture method, or the ways to get documents and data and images into the QuickTag system. We have over 300,000 plus users worldwide now, and we're very proud of the fact that we have a greater than 94% support renewal rate. And I lend this to 2 big reasons. One, our customers keep coming back to us year after year because our software is just extremely easy to use. Number 2, we don't outsource or offshore anything. So every single employee of ImageTag is in the same office here in Tempe, Arizona, where our headquarters is located. And it's not uncommon for customers that have mission-critical support issues to be able to reach out to me directly, and I can walk right across the hall and make sure that their ticket is being, taken care of or escalated if need be. But our support department does a great job of maintaining their service level agreements, and again, those are the 2 big reasons why we're well above the bar here in the support renewal area. Our vision is to provide one system for everything document related, regardless of department, regardless of document, regardless of touch point. So you'll notice over here on the right-hand side, I have this, I'm going to call it kind of a technology stack. On the bottom, we have the QuickTag platform. And the QuickTag platform is your basic capture and retrieval document management system integrated into Great Plains. On top of that, I have a Quick App. We have a catalog of Quick Apps that can be added on top of the platform and configured specifically to meet particular business processes. So as an example, what you're going to see today is Quick Payables, and that's a Quick App, and that's for invoice routing and approval. Quick Apps are comprised of workflow and routing. They're comprised of document associations, or the ability to relate documents to each other based on unique identifiers, and of course reporting as well. So again, we've got the platform, the Quick App, and I'll be showing you both of these today. Not only is our vision to create a system that's for any document, any touch point, in any department, but even though we're going to focus heavily on Dynamics and Great Plains specifically today, QuickTag is also a software system that is built to scale across the entire enterprise. So about 75% of our customers that are using it for Great Plains are also using it for other departments as a standalone document management system outside of the ERP system as well. And then the 4 main components that comprise our software are document capture, and we've got simple, powerful capture that both Dynamics and web-based for those users that are non-GP users. We've got the workflow, of course, and the Quick Apps. And then we also have case management, which basically allows you the ability to relate documents to each other that are all surrounding a particular person or process in the organization, almost to build a case file, if you will. And then we also have forms automation. And you can kind of think of forms automation as e-forms, if you will, being able to upload templates like PTO requests, personnel action forms, contracts, and being able to take those Word documents or those Excel spreadsheets, upload them into QuickTag, and then be able to actually manually key in data into that form, that e-form, and then route it through a particular approval process. So those are the 4 main components of our software. And that being said, I'm going to go ahead and we'll jump right into the demo. So this is QuickTag. And And this is QuickTag access from the internet browser. Okay, so I'm outside of Great Plains. We'll come back to the GP user experience a little bit later on. But when we're using Quick Payables, what you want to do is you want to get documents into the work queue so that they can then be routed through the approval process. So like I was mentioning, if you look at these electronic documents that I have at the top here, these are documents that I got into QuickTag the old-fashioned way. Okay, I just uploaded these into QuickTag and I did not use the intelligent cloud extraction. Okay, so if I don't use intelligent cloud extraction, you'll notice that I actually have to manually index some information. I can come over here and choose my document type. I have to choose my company ID. I can give it a document date. I'm just going to use today's date just to keep it simple. I can cut and paste. Notice on the right-hand side, I'm just kind of highlighting the invoice number, and I'm going to copy that, and then I'm going to come over here to the document number, and I'm going to paste it. Type in the purchase amount. The vendor ID, even with the old-fashioned way, we provide two ways to simplify the vendor ID entry process. One, if I type a couple of letters, notice it typed ahead the rest for me. Two, I also have this little magnifying glass. Notice when I hover my cursor, it says find a vendor. When I click on that magnifying glass, I get a lookup into all of the vendor cards that are set up in the Great Plains system. So I can very easily filter based on ID, name, city, or state, or zip code. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and grab Advanced Office Systems, and then I'm going to take the standard GL codes that are defaulted as the vendor defaults in the GP system, and I'm going to submit those and leave a comment that says, please approve ASAP. So again, that's the old way of manually indexing the data in order to route the document through the approval process. And now that I've hit the submit button, that's going to route to an approver in the organization based on your company's business rules and the way that we create your approval matrix. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually upload some documents, not using the old-fashioned way, but using the intelligent cloud extraction. And what this is going to do is it's going to send the document to our cloud, where the document is going to get extracted. The data is going to get pushed back down into your QuickTag system alongside the image, and it's going to be automatically indexed so you don't have to do the data entry. So 3 of the ways that we have to do this, and there are actually 15 ways now to capture documents and to get them into the QuickTag system, but 3 of the ways that we have very easily to leverage the intelligent cloud extraction are upload, emailing, and scanning. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go into a drawer that I have dedicated to the intelligent cloud extraction, and notice it's called ICE for intelligent cloud extraction, and I'm just going to right click and I'm going to select tag, and then I'm going to click upload, and I'm just going to browse. This allows me to browse out to a network drive or my desktop, and I'm going to browse out and I'm going to grab this Advanced Office Systems invoice, and I'm just going to double click it and hit submit. Now, I'm also going to bring myself up on camera and introduce myself, and I'm going to grab an invoice that I have for Beaumont Construction. That's a physical piece of paper that's sitting on my desk, and I'm going to pop that into my scanner, and I've got a setting here for an FTP site where this is going to go to our Intelligent Cloud Extraction FTP site, and I'm going to scan that one in. The other way that I'm going to get a document into the system is by emailing it in. And this is great because this allows you to give your vendors an email address like apinvoices@companyabc.com, and you can literally have your vendors email invoices into your QuickTag system, and they will be automatically extracted and dumped into the work queue just like the other documents that I just scanned and uploaded. So I've got an email address. That's ice.mike@imagetag.online.com, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to attach a document, and I've got one for Bloomington County here. This is another invoice, and I'm just going to click send. Okay, so those 3 documents, are going to take probably about 30 seconds to get into the QuickTag system and to be intelligently extracted. So while they're doing that, I just want to kind of explain the back-end repository of QuickTag and the drawer structure. So I'm going to X out of this upload feature here, and I'm going to show you what the drawers look like. So QuickTag is set up in sites. Now notice I have a site called Fabricam. This is my GP test company. Okay. Now I have a drawer that is named after 75 different screens that were actually mapped into in Great Plains. And so if I were to go over into GP and tag a document directly to an invoice or payables transaction entry, it's going to go into a payables transaction entry drawer. So within the drawer, I can filter for documents, and I can pull these fields over to the left and right in order to sort the data the way that I want to. And I can also right-click and I can search to do a more refined search within the drawer. But I have a lot of options from within the drawer. I can edit the document. I can add an additional index. I can move it to a different drawer. I can see what documents are associated to it. I can see the GL codes or any workflow history that might be there. So those are all right-click functions right from within the drawer. And I have all of those same functions if I do a global search. So rather than filtering into a particular drawer, I can go to the Search tab and I can do a global search across all sites and across all drawers. Now I'm going to go back over to my work queue, and you'll notice I've got today's date on some of the documents down here. So those documents that I just scanned, uploaded, and emailed, leveraging the intelligent cloud extraction, have now made it into my work queue. So I'm going to choose this first one here. This is the Beaumont construction invoice. And notice on the left-hand side now that I've selected it, I don't have to key in any data like I did for the electronic documents that were listed on the top that I scanned in or I uploaded in the old-fashioned way, not using the intelligent cloud extraction. So I've got all of the data that I need that needs to be indexed for Great Plains purposes and for workflow routing purposes automatically done for me with 100% character recognition and no errors. All I'm going to do at the bottom here is just leave a comment, just like I did on the first one, and I'm going to say, please approve ASAP. Okay, after I hit submit, that's now going to be routing to a business manager in the organization. Here's the Bloomington County one that I actually emailed in. Again, we've got the invoice number, we've got the vendor name, we've also identified the vendor ID, the document date, the purchase amount. All of the data has been intelligently extracted with 100% character recognition. So this time I'll leave another comment that says, please code and approve right away. Click submit. That's now routing for approval. And then here's the Advanced Office Systems one. This is the one that was on my desk that I actually popped into the scanner. And again, even though this was a scanned image and it wasn't an electronic PDF, we've cleaned up the document with our data gateway technology when it went through the scanner. And as we cleaned it up, we also converted it to text, and we grabbed all of the data off of the document and indexed it with 100% character recognition. Now, I've already routed 2 for approval, so I won't route this one because I don't want to belabor the point. But now I'm going to log in a second internet browser. Notice in my first internet browser window, I'm logged in the upper right-hand corner as the indexer. Okay, I'm going to go to the second tab that I have open, and you'll notice now in the upper right-hand corner, I'm logged in as a department manager. So if I right-click and refresh my screen, I should have those 2 invoices that were just routed from the indexer, and one of them has shown up so far. So we'll go ahead and work that. That's the Beaumont construction one. And notice it tells me on the left-hand side as I look at the index data that 2 GL distributions have been selected. Now, if I click on this magnifying glass here, this gives me the ability to see what those GL distributions are. Okay? And those GL codes were selected automatically because they were set up as vendor defaults in the vendor card in Great Plains. So if you leverage vendor default GL distributions, we're automatically going to pull them into QuickTag because, again, we're trying to eliminate as much data entry as we possibly can. Now, if you want to delete them out, that's fine, or if you need to add additional lines of coding, that's fine too. You can do it in two different ways. You can either click on Add Blank, which will allow you to do it manually, or you can click on View All, and this is another great example of our deep integration into Great Plains. We're providing you with a lookup into your chart of accounts that you can filter on, and you can filter both on account number and you can filter on description. So I'm going to type a few letters here, and I'm going to grab computer equipment. Now notice I'm going to change my debit amount down to $5,000, and my functioning totals don't match. So if I click Submit, it actually errors out. It won't let me leave this screen, and it tells me at the bottom left corner of it that the totals must balance. So we've put a little control in there for your department managers or your AP people, regardless of who does the coding or where that happens in the process. So that way, if the functioning totals don't match up, they can't make any mistakes. They can't move on. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add $656 to computer equipment to bring it up to, so my totals match. I'm going to click Submit, and then I'm going to leave some workflow comments. Coded and now just needs the approval. And it was successful, and that's now routing to my CFO in the organization for an approval. So what I'm showing you is a very simple one-tier approval process. I have some customers that do one approval. I have one customer that actually does 8, which is a little ridiculous, I think, but to each his own. So point is this is all configurable, and again, we're gonna map the product to your business process and how you route your documents through the approval process today, albeit in a paper-driven way and manually. Now, the second document has shown up that was routed from the indexer, and that's the one for Bloomington County. And so I'm just going to go ahead and leave the vendor defaults for Bloomington County this time, and we'll say coded and needs final approval. And I'll click Submit. Now, I don't know if you've noticed in the bottom right-hand corner, but some email notifications have been popping up. And if I open up Outlook, then these are actually the email notifications that were being received by the department manager. So the department manager is receiving notification letting them know that there's something in their work queue that requires action. We give them all of the information regarding the invoice that's been automatically indexed through the intelligent cloud extraction, and we also give them a copy of the invoice attached as a PDF. Now notice at the bottom, I have the ability to log in. Because I have to do the GL coding as the department manager, I can't actually do the approval from the email notification, but I do have the ability to click log in. Now, if you're not doing the GL coding and you're literally just doing a quote-unquote approval, we do have the ability to allow department managers or whomever is doing the approval to do it directly from the email notification. And it's as simple as clicking reply to the email and typing the keyword approve, or typing the keyword reject, and then on a separate line adding rejected comments. Okay, and the system is intelligent enough, if you click send without rejection comments, it will actually send you another email notification back letting you know that you need to resubmit your rejection with comments. We never want to reject anything without letting somebody know why. Okay, so back over to QuickTag, and I'm now going to go to a third Internet Explorer tab that I have open, and notice in the upper right-hand corner I'm logged in as the CFO. If I right-click and refresh my CFO's work queue, then I should have 2 more invoices in there from today, and I do. There's the one for Bloomington County, and there's the one for Beaumont Construction. Now, because the CFO is not editing any GL codes in my demo environment in the way that I have this demo set up, he doesn't have a Submit tab at the bottom. He or she has an Approve, Reject, or Delegate tab. So if I want to reject it, again, I have to leave comments, so we're going to force them on you. If I don't want to work on this because it's been routed to me accidentally or I just don't want to work on it, I can choose another user and leave some comments in Click Delegate, and this is going to leave my work queue. It's going to route to them, and they're going to get the same email notification that I got. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and just approve both of these. And now that I've given it the final approval, what happens is the documents are now going to route over to GP, and we're going to create vouchers. But we're not going to have to key in any data again, and we're not going to have to really manually create a voucher. So if I go over to Great Plains and I pull up a payables transaction entry window, notice there's an additional tab, and you don't have that additional tab today without QuickTag. Once you buy QuickTag, we'll light up this additional tab in 75 different forms and across 9 different modules, ranging from purchasing, general ledger, bank reconciliation, HR, payroll, fixed assets, accounts receivable, and sales order. So again, we're pretty much mapped into just about every screen that you could possibly imagine, and that allows you to be able to tag documents directly to your transaction screens from within GP. Now, because we've routed that invoice through the electronic approval process, I'm not going to have to tag it directly to the transaction screen. It's going to attach automatically. I'm going to click on the additional tab, and I'm going to view my work queue. So AP would monitor this work queue on whatever frequency is appropriate for your business. And all of the invoices that completely go through the entire approval process are going to end up here. Now notice these bottom 2 are the ones that we just routed through that approval process and were just approved and coded by the department manager and then the CFO. If I hover my cursor, I can see all of the data that's associated to that particular invoice. And if I double click it, I can bring up a copy of it from here. So I've got all of the data that I need in order to determine how I want to batch these invoices, and it's when I batch them that we're going to create the voucher. So I could actually grab all of these if I want and put them into one big batch, or I could batch them separately. I'm just going to grab the 2 that we just routed, and I'm going to highlight those, and I'm going to click Create. This gives me the ability to either create a new batch on the fly, which I'm going to do, and I'm going to title it Mike, or to tag it to an existing batch. Now I'm going to click Yes, and you're going to see these documents disappear from my work queue. Oh, you know what? They actually didn't disappear from the work queue, and they errored out. And the reason they errored out is because I've used these documents before, and Great Plains and QuickTag are intelligent enough to actually basically reject the document if it sees a duplicate invoice number. Normally what would happen if I had used unique invoice numbers is we would have created an invoice in a open and unposted state, or we would have created a voucher in an open and unposted state. So those would actually turn into invoices, and if I go down here, I'll show you one from a demo that I did yesterday, and I put this in John's batch, and you can see that all the data that I keyed in yesterday in QuickTag, or that was intelligently extracted from our cloud, would have gotten pushed through here into the voucher creation. Now yesterday when I did the demo, I added computer equipment for the GL code, but I did it for $300. And notice as I open that, you can see that that change that I made in QuickTag yesterday did get pushed over to the GL distributions window. And if I click on the additional tab and I select the View Documents option, the invoice that was routed through the approval process into that voucher creation is actually now going to be associated to that voucher. So I can just click Additional and select View, and I can see any documents that are related to that voucher that were pushed through that approval process. So that's what the workflow looks like. And again, you've got options depending on budget, depending on volume, and depending on really what you're trying to accomplish as to the level of automation that you want, whether you'd like to manually key in the data or if you'd like to leverage the intelligent cloud extraction. We can teach the system to recognize your recurring vendor invoices, and we can teach you to teach the system how to learn the new ones or the one-offs as they come in a little bit later on down the road. so that the system is intelligent enough to grab the data off of those invoices and automatically index it for you. Now, if I go back into QuickTag, now that we've routed 2 of those documents entirely through the approval process, except of course they didn't actually make it to voucher creation because of that error, I want to go back into the drawer, the payables transaction entry drawer, and I want to show you what the workflow history or the audit trail looks like. So if I right-click one of those 2 documents, I can show my workflow history. And notice that we've got 4 steps there, right? The indexer basically gave it a quick review after it was intelligently extracted in the cloud. And then it was routed to the department manager. We've got a time and a date stamped. We've also got the comments that were left by the department manager. And you can tell that it was edited because the GL codes were edited. The CFO approved it a few minutes later, and it's actually still awaiting ERP entry by this particular user group, KT ERP users. And once that actually, if we were to have created the voucher successfully, it actually would have said here at the bottom, entered into the ERP system. So this is great because a lot of our customers will literally allow their auditors a license to QuickTag. They'll limit the security and the permissions so that it's view only and so that they can only access one particular drawer in order to do their auditing. They can come right here into the payables transaction entry drawer and audit whatever they need to and look at all of the approvals and make sure everything's there. Another thing a lot of our customers will do is they'll right-click and export, okay? And if you're not so comfortable giving your auditor access to your software systems and just letting them write in, you can right-click and export both the data and the images to an Excel spreadsheet or a flat file and deliver it to them that way. So let's see here. That's really it for the workflow process. Again, there is a lot more to QuickTag. We can leverage that workflow that I showed you across any document type, and we have quick apps for all different types of documents already out of the box, like contract approval. We have quick expense for expense reporting approval. We've got a number of HR applications for routing resumes through workflow processes or job requisitions or job offers. So this is really a neat product that in a very flexible platform that you can scale throughout the entire use of the organization. But actually, I think that's all that we have today. We showed you both QuickTag, Quick Payables for the invoice routing and the approval, and you got to see the intelligent cloud extraction, which is we're really excited about. It's newer to QuickTag. And it's really one of a kind in that the intelligence extraction historically has always been done on-premise, and it's in OCR, zonal OCR, that intelligence extraction has always been very expensive as a result. It requires a lot of hardware, there's a large software purchase, and it's based on volume. So what the intelligent cloud extraction allows us to do is it allows you to not need the hardware in your environment, and it's a much smaller setup fee up front, and we charge you on a per document basis. Okay, so that way you're only paying for as much as you need, and you don't necessarily need to use it for all vendors if you don't want to, but you certainly would want to try to use it for your highly active and your very recurring vendors. So we're really the first company to ever put this in the cloud and offer it on a document by document basis from a price perspective. And so if it's something that you're interested in, feel free to reach out to your IBIS rep and let them know that you'd like to set up a more personalized demo. And we can do some discovery and some analysis, and I can actually tailor a demo very, very specific to your processes and get some more information about pricing over to you as well. With that being said, I want to thank everybody very, very much for their time. I want to thank IBIS for having me. Whitney, thank you very much to you and all of your cohorts over there.